fire.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Trainman Plays Chris Sawyer's Locomotion. This is episode 235? That's a guess. I'm not really sure. But anyways, we're back here on the main menu because we're starting something brand new. I am here with my lovely darling.
Hi.
Madison. And we are going to be going through a new scenario. Well, we have to set it up first. That's this episode. And she's going to be learning the ropes of how to play Locomotion in multiplayer. As well as you guys are going to be learning. I got asked to make a series where I teach, and I got asked to make a series where I do multiplayer, independently. But I decided to combine them, because what is a teacher without a student? So, we're going to go in, and Skiryoshi has been nice enough to build us a new landscape. And it's called the White Prim Ridge, and I actually haven't really looked at this. I've seen the screenshots, but I haven't really looked at it. So, that's how you access a landscape. You put it in your... Oh, I'm missing something. BHBHCR. What is that? Ooh, that's not good then. Well, Skiryoshi, please note that issue, but we have to carry on. So, here's what we'll do. We'll go from scratch. I was looking forward to White Prim Ridge, but let's see. So, first things first, I'm going to come back and do these things. But I'll move up to the landscape editor first. So, this is the landscape editor. In here you can see what the world either looks like or could potentially look like. Because if you select this, it means you get a random landscape every time you generate the world. It will regen it from scratch. So, uncheck that and it'll generate us a new random landscape. Now this is a fairly varied, this is your default. This is what things look like if you don't change any settings whatsoever. Including where the towns are and what they're made of. And as well as the fact that the game by default starts in 1900. So that's the first thing. You got to figure out when do you want your game to start. I'm asking you.
Oh.
So it can be anywhere between 1900 and 2000, I think. You might be able to push it past that, but...
1920.
1920. 1920 is not a bad start. So then we can move on to this. Now this is a little bit more complicated. Again, ask tons of questions. It's better that way, as opposed to getting them in the comments and having to go back. But this, for the most part, so we've got sea level. So if we turn this way up, I'll have it regenerate the landscape, and you'll see that things will look a little bit different.
It's really big.
Yeah. Well, we basically flooded everything.
The ocean.
No, flooded the ocean. That's not a thing you can do. And if you turn it way down, you could have a map with no sea level, or with no ocean at all, and so then you get desert. By default. You can change certain things.
Is there a snow option?
There is, actually. Although we've got snow here.
Like the whole thing can be covered in snow?
Yes. What you have to do for that is you change the minimum land height. So if we change the minimum land height up to like 10, generate a new landscape. Much more of it is covered in snow now. I'm not sure how... Okay, we can turn it up to 15. There you go. Winter Wonderland. Of course, during the summer, most of it will go away, but we're looking at it during the winter right now. So there's that. Did you want to leave it like that?
Do half of it.
Half of it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn it down to 7. There we go. We've got a desert. Do you want ocean? Or no?
Sure.
Okay, where do you want the sea level?
Well,
Minimum land height is 7 units now.
can I do that?
7 units?
Sure.
Well, then we're not going to have an ocean, because the minimum land height is going to be 7, and so is the sea level.
Ah, then do 10.
Running out of workable land here. This would be a difficult map to work on because everything is mountains.
Oh, and how do you make it easier?
Okay,
No
well,
snow?
here's what you can do: is you've got these options here for topography style,
Which means what?
which is the type of landscape you have. So right now we're sitting on mountains because that's default. We can have half mountains, half hills, which I'm gonna turn these back to normal for now. Half mountains, half hills. So we've got some mountains and some flatness, which flatness is easier. We've got half mountains, half flat. So some of it will just be dead flat, but this might give us... Yeah, this just gives us
Ocean.
some islands. Yeah, because the ocean is above the minimum
You get
land
the little
height.
teeny tiny towns that have the really weird names.
I mean, we have some of those. Hold on. Bunworth Ridge.
Eaglewood.
New Bunley, Fort Pinkwell, Applewell, Duckville. Maybe and Pebblehead, Fort Knockstone. We can change these. Shuttlewood City. I normally only have a few towns on the map because they'll grow to be huge and take up a lot of space. So what are our other options? Now we can have flat land,
No mountains.
which it's even worse than no mountains. It's literally just flat land.
So ocean.
I mean, if you turn the ocean down, it's about the easiest map you can get because
We should have had that in the beginner.
there is nothing.
They didn't have that in the beginner.
No, they didn't have that in Boulder Breakers. Boulder Breakers is just an island. And then you have small hills. I typically go with small hills because it gives you some variety in the landscape, but overall, whatever. So, anyways, I normally click this as well. Create hills right up to edge of map. This means exactly what you think, but the deal is, if you turn on mountains, turn up the sea level back to normal. Without that setting, you would not have anything that touches the edge of the map. It would just be ocean at the edge. This is not a bad map, but there are quite a few mountains.
Could you have a map that never ends?
No, unfortunately, the map size in Locomotion is fixed. That's one of my biggest gripes with the game. But, you know, the game's 13 years old. I don't think it's getting an update anytime soon. But you can turn down the hill density. That's the other thing. So if you turn this way down to like 20%, generate the landscape again.
Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, now we have much fewer mountains, but we do have some mountains somewhere.
I like
You like this?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
That's cool.
Speak up. Project your voice. So, now that we've settled on that, we've gone through all the options here. Did I miss anything here? No. This is a fairly simple tab. So we've got the other things. Well, this is, where do we put stuff? We've got, oh, we don't have,
Can you place the towns specific places?
Yes,
You can. So like have them far away from hills.
yeah. You can do that if you want to get, picky.
How do you do that?
Very carefully. You know what? Something is missing. I don't have all of the terrain colors. Oh, you know what? I know why. Hold on.
You have desert.
I do, but hold on. I'm missing something. I need to go back to region/object selection. I need to go over to here. Red earth, salt flat. Those are new. Those are modded in. Most of the stuff here is modded in. These obviously aren't. We're stuck on North America for now. We can change. You know, we'll come back to this. I just wanted to set that up because we do need that, and we'll regenerate the map when we get to it. So back to the landscape editor. So we have the options of where to put these, and so
Like painting the ground.
pretty much yes. But we're asking the game to paint the ground for us. So right now, as it stands, I'll regenerate the map, generate new landscape, and so. The other things have sort of been subdued by the fact that other things are marked as everywhere. So grass is marked as everywhere. These are marked as everywhere, but they don't show up as much. Or they don't show up at all because they're being prioritize under grass. But anyways, so we've got these options here. And you can change all of these. So you can change brown rock to be everywhere, nowhere, far from water, near water, on mountains, far from mountains, in small random areas, and large random areas, or around cliffs. And so we've got brown rock, dry grass, grass, gray rock, sand, red earth, and salt flat. And you can change all of these.
Where are the cliffs?
Like this.
All the things that you have to use the thing for.
Theoretically, yeah. But
I don't know what it's called.
a rack rail. So a cog.
No, not that. The thing where I don't screw up and only do half the block.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
That
yeah, the
thing.
terrain tool. We actually have that in here. And I'll get to that when we're done with this tab. Or when we're done with this stuff. So what we can do here is we can change these. I like to put these things in small random areas because they're just little things. And then leave this and leave these. Although we could change this if we wanted to. We could change it so that sand is not far from mountains but in large random areas. And if we regen that, we're going to get a lot more grass.
Farmland.
See?
No more beaches.
So do you want it like that or the other way? Or a different way?
Can you do half and half? No.
I can actually do this. Hold on. In large random areas, in large random areas. So these two are now in large random areas. So if we regen this new landscape, okay, it looks like grass took priority mostly. But that's
Just some small random areas.
for everything.
No, the sand has. There's a lot of sand. It's just really tiny area. This is really tiny spots of it in big areas.
I mean, the sand is in large random areas currently. So we could change that to near water.
And then you'd have beaches.
A lot of beaches. Oh, you know what? Here, we'll do this. We can turn grass back up to everywhere. No, not quite. Okay, so near water has got a quite low threshold.
Can you move the water to make it not in the middle of everything?
I mean, yeah, you can go in and change that however you want. You know, we've got the terrain tool and a water tool and a tree tool. And even like I think we've got do we have a color tool? No, we don't. But anyways, that's what we've got. But so, yeah.
I like the grass better.
You like the grass everywhere? Alright, so we'll change this to in large random areas, or would you rather this be something else?
No, that's fine.
Large random areas. Generate new landscape. So we've got grass and trees everywhere now. Look at it.
Pretty.
The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the hill density a little bit.
Should turn down some of the trees too.
Yeah, we'll
Trees
get
in
to that.
area.
We'll get to that.
There's a lot of trees.
Okay, we have a lot more. I'm trying to find a happy medium here. That's good. Do you think? I'm trying to find a medium between getting areas with water and getting areas that are like open.
That's fine.
Okay. So, moving on, this is our forest tab. Here we can change the number of forests. If you want fewer trees, then we can turn it way down, generate a new landscape.
40 is way down?
Yeah, 40 as opposed to 100.
Oh.
And so, now we have fewer trees scattered all over the place. We have a few places
40
that are
relative to what?
40 forests on the map.
If that was trees, that wouldn't be a
No.
lot.
No, this is number of forests. And then you can change the radius of forests, so how big they are. So this is the minimum, this is the maximum. Forest density 14%, so 14% of available space is going to be full of trees. If I turned this up to like, to 98, generate a new landscape.
Thing would
Yeah,
be...
look, you're going to have these blocks of trees. Although even then, that isn't that bad. That's not as bad as I expected. This is pretty clumped here as well.
We've got
Theoretically,
mountain
you could
trees.
make like a super forest death world by cranking this all the way up. Let's see what this looks like.
They need to have the Amazon rainforest.
Oh my god.
That's a
Oh
lot
my
of trees.
god. Look at that. It looks nice, but no thank you. This is like what my trains world looks like right now, for those of you that are watching Under Construction, or the zombie train. Alright, so I'm going to turn this back down to normalish settings. You tell me if there's anything you want me to change. This is fine?
Yeah, there's not that many trees. It's okay.
Yeah. You
Not
can
that
also
many trees
change...
to chop down like
You
that.
can also change this. Number of random individual trees just scattered around the map like these guys. So if you turn that up, you're going to get more random trees. Minimum altitude, so you could change it so that they can't like be down here, they have to be up in the mountains. Or a maximum altitude, which means they can't be up here. So if you turn down the max altitude, you'll prevent trees from being in the mountains. But for now, we can leave that as is. Here's this
Trees
tab.
help you breathe.
Yeah, here's this tab. This is the town generation. So right now we have 55 towns on the map. That's a lot, in my opinion. We could do with quite fewer. In fact, I'm going to crank it all the way down for now, and then you can decide sort of how many you want. Also, you can change this to maximum
I was just
town
gonna ask about
size.
that.
Yeah, so what this is when you generate the world, how big the towns turn out to be.
What's
If-
3 relative to?
It's just a medium town. So these are like 1,
Like
this
blocks?
is like a 2. No, it's not really based off of anything. It's just a number. It's between 1 through 8. 1 is really big, or 1 is really small, and 8 is really big. So let's see if we've got a big town that spawned right now. Here's a bigger town. This will be like a 5 or a 4. And it is 1920. The towns aren't going to be that big. Here's a bigger town.
Yeah, but we normally wouldn't deal with people. We're just doing trains.
I mean, you can move people with trains. I've hooked up passenger services. They can actually be pretty good for money. But that depends. If you want to turn down the towns at the beginning, then you set it smaller. What do you want to do?
Do them like middle.
So medium or what are
4.
these? 4. Okay. How many towns? Right now the world's kind of sparse.
7.
7. Okay.
7's a good number.
So you can turn that up. Turning that up can be a good thing, but at the same time, then you'll have to deal with towns all over the place, and you may have to build very carefully and strategically around them. Here's the other thing. So this is the number of industries we have on the map. Almost always I put this to high, because it means more opportunities,
And more money.
more things connect, and more money.
And there's a lot of things closer together, so you don't need to spend money to build big things.
Yes. Speak up. Now, here's the other thing. You can allow industries to close down or start up during the game. So, if you set it to high, and then generate the map, even, the industries you get at the beginning are not all of the industries you can get. If you leave
They just pop up.
if you leave this on, yeah, a bunch of them will show up and start building in like the first couple of months. So you'll get even more. And then if you leave this off, none of the industries will ever go away. If you leave it on, sometimes you'll have one that closes down and moves somewhere else. I normally leave it on for the sake of gameplay because it allows me to change things around. And also, if something's in the way, I can, hope and pray that someday they'll go out of business and move somewhere else. There's no way to force that, but you can also build your own industries in-game. You can build them through some other stuff, through scenario options, I think, or whatever. Or no, you can build them through here. Yeah, you can build buildings, build towns, so, like that. And then if you...
You can expand the size of them, or they just...
Oh, yeah. But you can also just say goodbye.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's that tab. So you've got the towns tab where you can see all the towns, you can build towns, you can build individual buildings. So like if I wanted to add this office block to this town here, I could just put it there. As well as electric pylons if we're doing that.
A little piece of the road just stayed there.
Yeah, I know, I see that. Yeah, if we're gonna like, oh, electricity goes to here. You know?
Because trees need electricity.
Yep. There should maybe be power plants. We didn't set that up yet. So, you can also have, you know, radio transmitters or whatever, so put one here, whatever. And rotate them using this button. And you can do that with all of the buildings. Also, you can change this color, I guess.
The bottom color?
Yeah.
Or is it...
Although I think it changes.
Oh, yeah, it's
it changes the. Oh, these change in height as you go through. So the first one's little, the second one's medium, the third one's huge.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom.
Yeah, and it's changing the colors of those. But you can go back to clear area. And also you can go through these tabs and change things just like you would
In-game.
in-game. So we've got these roads for now. And this is the tab to get back to this window if you close out of it. So you tell me what you want to do with these industries.
Just keep it like that.
Okay. So let me get rid of this, although we are going to regen the map once we come back into it. So, back to this. Because I like doing that first. Well, what I'm going to do, actually, because we're now stuck with some stuff, I'm going to hit that, and then we're going to change it again later, and see if we like the landscape we get. Or we can leave it like this, so that every time we play the scenario, we get something new. So, here's the big decision that they ask you when you come into the game for the first time. Do you want to be in North America, Great Britain, or the Alpine Mountains?
Britain.
Britain. Okay. That's not really great because the modded stuff is not Britain. But
oh, then don't do Britain.
Well, we
Whatever
have other
stuff.
but we can go through here. Go through Great Britain. And we can honestly change whatever we want. So we can change these. We can change this if you want it to be something else. It doesn't have to make sense. Zlot, yen, won, Taiwanese dollars, pounds, pista, lira, which is Italian, krona, guilders, franc, euros, dollars, and Reichsmark.
That sounds funny. Do that one.
It's German. So we can turn all these on like you do. And
so
then,
everything that we just did is just going to go away.
Well, no. The changes that we made should still be there. Yeah, see, 1920, all these changes are still here. If I were to generate a new landscape, it would generate the same...
Based on that?
Yeah, the same type of landscape that we just made, but the buildings are going to be British instead of American. Because we were on American preset before, and now we're on British.
Oh, those look cool.
Yeah. So, let's continue through here. So we have Dushmark, or whatever. And so this is where we pick the style of town names.
Silly.
Yeah.
I like the silly ones.
Mm-hmm. Leave all the walls on. These are our signals. So you can pick these. We've got these little color lights, these slightly different color lights, which I think these only go red and green. These, which are the American style color lights, I think they're sort of big and clunky. We've got the 4 aspect ones, which are a little bit more detailed. But they're also, these two are both British.
What's dwarf?
Dwarf signals are little ones that sit on the ground.
Those are cool.
Alright. So, then we also have the gantry signals. These are the ones that are up above the track.
I like those.
So I'll turn all these on. I love these. And then we have searchlights. These are American-style searchlights, so it's a single thing on a pole. And it just changes color. Semaphore, we have these, which are mechanical signals.
Looks like someone's holding a flag, just moving it up and down.
Mm-hmm. And then also we have these semaphores, which these are the real British ones.
Let's tricolor. The 3-color one.
Yeah, this is sort of like this. It's very similar to that, but it's a normal color light. You know, a green,
I like
red,
what we got.
green, yellow, blue. Okay, or green, yellow, red, rather. Then we have these. So we have level crossing gates with lights. And then we also have these lights, and then these crossing signs. Now, generally one will override the other, because you don't get to pick when you lay down railroad crossings. So it's either you go with the, like this pair, or this pair. Or, like these three I think would be passable. Because this would replace this, see, designed in 1940. This is going to be important later. And then this designed in 1955. Whichever is the newest one is the one that will be there. The old ones will stick around, though. And then we also have these. These are the British crossing gates.
They look like security gates.
Mm-hmm. But, so you can decide what you want out of these four.
Can you check them all? And then when they come in, then the new ones will come
You can, but I think these two, I'm not sure what's going to happen with these two. The gates and the signs.
Right.
Because they're both present at the same time. We're going to have all the bridges. And then we've got these stations. So we can pick which kind of stations we want to have.
Wait, go up. I like that one.
This one?
The other one was another one. I think the other one was checked already.
This one?
Yeah, those are cool.
Okay. So those are the two default stations. I'm going to
that?
do an invisible station. It's in case you need to put down a station and not actually have it look like there's a station there. Just
Why
for the
would
sake
you
of...
need that?
I use it for waypoints, which is something I'm going to get into later in the series when I'm explaining things. So wooden freight platform is also something I use all the time because it's not a station. I mean, it's not a regular station. Like, it doesn't have the arch roof or anything. It's just a freight platform. So I use that a lot.
Just drop stuff off so other things can pick it up?
No, it works the same as all of the other stations, but it looks a little different. I use it for the aesthetic, where if I'm not using passengers, I'm going to use a wooden freight platform, because why do you need a roof for freight?
So that way it doesn't get wet.
Nah. It's in a crate, or whatever.
Unless it's not covered.
Yeah, well then cover your freight. We also have this. This can go with the invisible station if you want to only have a platform on one side, which you can do. I've never actually used it before, but we can pick all of these if we want. Overhead electric wires, electric third rail, and then we could use a rack rail if we decided to have narrow gauge in the map. A rack rail is a thing in the middle of the two rails, which the engine has a gear under it that meshes with the rack and pulls the train up the hill if it's too steep. But we don't need that because we don't have anything narrow gauge right now. We don't have narrow gauge active. So if we want narrow gauge, this is where you would pick it.
Narrow gauge is tiny.
Yes. It's good for getting up mountains, but not much else. It doesn't go quickly at all.
So we have mountains, so why
We
don't
do
we
have
have it?
Okay, we've picked it.
So then wouldn't you want the other thing too?
I think it will select it automatically.
Automatically.
Mm-hmm. Oh, never mind. Once we pick something that actually needs it, it'll select overhead electric wires. That's for track. So we've got these two styles of one-way road. One has the yellow line and one doesn't. This is the British. This is the American. We've got these two styles of road. One has yellow lines and one doesn't. These look almost identical, like this one, or no, this one and this one. But it'll look differently when you're placing them. So it'll show you what's one way and what's not. So you can pick any of these. We've got rough road, which is just, gravel or dirt road, and then tram track, which is self-explanatory.
Track for trams.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you want to change any of this, tell me now or forever hold your peace. Okay. She shook her head no. Now we've got airports. So we've got heliports, so a helipad on a building. We've got large airports, medium airports, and small airports. If you want to deal with planes, leave these on. If you don't want to deal with planes, turn these off.
I've never dealt with planes, so I don't know how to deal with planes.
So you want to turn these off?
If you want to teach me how to deal with planes, then we can deal with planes.
I mean, it's fairly simple. You slam an airport down, you slam another one down, you put a plane down, and you tell it the route between the two. It's, the only reason I don't do airports is because they take up a huge amount of space.
Alright, then we're done.
But I will leave the heliport on
Yeah.
for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the fun part. We can select a maximum of 224 items. We currently have 113 selected, thanks to just the basic what's what. I'm going to go in here, by the way, and I'm going to... So this is what we get. We'll come back to that because that's going to take a while. This is what we have for Great Britain. We have all of these trees, and not this one, and all of these trees, not this one, and all of these trees, and not this one, and all of these trees, and not the weed, and not the yucca plant.
What? That sounds funny.
And we can select 64, and we only have
31.
But we only have in total 40. So you can select all of these and just call it a day.
Okay.
And that's what I usually do, just for the sake of it. So why not? Alright. Yoga plant. We do actually have 40. I was spot on.
Well,
What?
uncheck the weeds.
Uncheck weeds? Okay.
Weeds are bad.
By weed. We can change the climate, so we have British climate, Australian, Alpine, Low Alpine.
So it's gonna rain all day every day.
Yeah. Rain is not actually a thing in the game, thankfully. North American climate, high snow level, so it just means that the snow will only be very high in the mountains. And then North American, no snow.
Do the snow.
North American, I think Alpine gives you the most snow.
Snow is fun. In
So-
games.
This is the things that we have. We might need these, depending. But these are all the buildings we can have. We can have this, but I think, once again, you can check off all of them and not worry about it for 128. But these are U.S. buildings. If we're doing British styling, we wouldn't really want them. These two kind of belong.
What are those?
They're just little townhouses. So you can
No. The other ones.
What, these?
Yeah.
They're little apartment buildings. You can see when they were built and when they stopped getting built.
That one.
This one?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'll just scroll through all of them. If you like something or don't like it, tell me. So, we might need these later, but
If you're gonna need them, check them.
I won't check them until we know if we need them or not.
That was cool. The castle ruins are cool.
Yeah, they just show up. They're not actually part of towns. Cottage, 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 cottage,
So many cottages.
cottage, courthouse, electric pylon, flats, other flats,
Flats or apartments?
apartments, yes. Fountain, hotel, house.
Right.
What?
Yeah, okay, that's checked already.
Yeah. House.
What's the difference between a cottage and a house?
English versus American most of the time. House. Lighthouse. Office block.
Nah, everything's fine.
Office block. Office building. Office tower. Offices.
Office.
How many detached houses? Shops.
That's cool.
This.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
the roof line.
Other shops. Shops and apartments. Shops and apartments. Shops and apartments. Shops and offices. more shops and offices. And then we've gone through here, townhouses, U.S. apartment buildings, mobile homes, a Mickey D's, a Wendy's,
like Wendy's.
shops and offices,
Wait, that's not. Is that seriously Wendy's?
Yeah, look at the sign.
Oh my god, that's actually Wendy's. People in Game and Watching.
And this one is a McDonald's. You see the golden arches.
You gotta do a McDonald's.
Okay.
Do it.
Alright, so that's that. Now here's the big thing. This decides a lot of what we're gonna need from the train tab. And this is actually the last thing we'll do before the train tab. So this is what industries we have on the map. So we can go through all these. We can make things as complicated or as simple as you want. But what I think I'm gonna do, although we're on Great Britain, so we won't be able to move all the commodities. Shucks. Well, it's okay. This is mostly a training world. But we can pick whatever we want here. And the important thing is that we know what connects what. Now, that's a tricky thing sometimes, but...
To know what connects with what?
Yeah, like, so the oil wells obviously makes oil, which goes to the oil rig, or which goes to the oil refinery, rather.
So wouldn't you just want everything to be checked off?
Yes, but you have a maximum of 16.
Oh.
We can't check everything off. That's the issue.
So what goes with Great Britain, basically?
Well, that's been pre-selected for us. But oil rig and not oil wells, for whatever reason. Paper mill, not paper mills. These two paper mills, I don't remember which one is which. Printing works, 2 kinds of sawmills. A scrap yard, a ski center, a vineyard.
Do the winery.
A winery? I think we need the vineyard for that. And then...
Do one more.
The brewery. Yeah, we can do one more. I'm going to change this to oil wells so that we can do trains instead of boats. Because we're not going to have a lot of ocean. Obviously not these. This would be a hell of a thing to start. Although I could change that. So I could change Chemical Works to Chemical Works USCC. Because it's a more updated version that does different things, slightly. It still takes... Okay, so Chemical Works initially just produces chemicals. Chemical Works USCC, what it does is it takes in oil and outputs chemicals.
Yeah, that's the thing they had when I was playing.
Yeah, so I can get rid of the oil refinery because now we have the Chemical Works.
Are you going to get rid of the oil wells?
No, because you need the oil wells to take to the Chemical Works. You take the oil to the Chemical Works, and then from there, what you can do is you can take... so I'm going to change it from factory to factory USCC. So the only difference is this just gives us more options of inputs.
Inputs
so,
as
in the factory normally just takes, I think, steel and chemicals. This takes steel, chemicals, and some other stuff. Mm-hmm. But you can put in each one individually. It doesn't need all of the things to produce goods.
You gotta do something with wood because we're gonna have, like, trees.
Well, we don't actually have the managed forest right now, so we're not gonna be able to cut down trees. I always forget to do livestock stuff, but livestock farm and where does this go to? Food processing plant. Oh, and we have a flour mill, and so they both go here, the food processing plant.
So what's the grain thing? Don't you need the grain for the livestock?
No. Grain and livestock are two different commodities. They both go to... so the grain elevator does the same thing as the flour mill. It's just the American version. And so they both produce wheat. And... Oh wait, no. Flour mill supplements food processing plant, doesn't it? So wheat farm, you take it to the flour mill, and then cattle farm, you take it to the other thing, the food processing plant. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to ditch livestock for now, because it's just a pain to deal with cows. And then I can get rid of that so we can just have the flour mill. Got some windmills. Alright, so leaving that, now that we have 4 available, I might actually be able to do this, right? So the thing is, we've got this, which is going to be producing thingies, chemicals, and plastic pellets. If you remember, in the last world we played on, while you were shipping the chemicals somewhere, I ran a little train that was stealing plastic pellets from the plant and transporting like 20 tiles to another thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, look what I'm doing.
Yeah, I remember.
So
stealing my stuff.
That goes to the auto parts factory, which then goes to the new auto plant. And so that's... Oh, you know what? I have a thing for this. Okay, I'm going to open this up to show everyone. Scenarios from the beginning. No. Go back again. So this is what everything looks like. You bring the oil to the places, and you bring the goods to the town. But you bring the oil to here, the Chemical Works USCC. You bring the plastic pellets to the auto parts factory. Then you bring the auto parts to the auto plant, and then bring the autos to the town and sell them. At the same time, you create steel and you transport it to both of these places because it needs both of these places. Steel also comes out of here, which is a scrap yard, which we're going to get as well. So that's the abridged version. So we don't need this necessarily, but we could have it. So we have that. Well, now we have 2. Oh, right. I did that. Let me go back into here real quick and do this. There. Because now we need those. Now we need the auto things. So now you can pick.
The auto plant too.
I have the new auto plant, which is essentially the same thing. So now you pick 2 that we don't have already.
Well, don't you need the coal-fired power station if you're using the coal mines?
Well, you can also take coal to the steel mill. Where is that? Steel mill. And that's what we're going to need most of our coal for. But we can stick with the coal-fired power station because we have power lines on the map, and so it makes sense. And so now we need 1 more. If we do a livestock farm as well, the thing we'd have to do is, instead of going to the flour mill, we would turn on the food processing plant. The food processing plant takes both. It takes livestock and food.
And that.
Okay. Or it takes livestock and other thing.
Flour.
So, where'd I put the livestock farm? Cows. Alright, so now we have 16 out of 16.
Cows don't move.
That's the best. Alright,
Trains move.
now we have this massive list of probably, many hundreds of things that we can play with. First things first, I'm going to go through and turn off all the jets. All the things that we're not going to need. Because we won't...
boats.
We won't, yeah, no... Oh yeah, let's turn off... Did I turn off boat stops? Or do they just automatically show up when you... Whatever. Yeah, so turn off boats.
What about buses?
I mean, we have stuff for buses, but we could get rid of those if you want to. Bulk ship, C-130 Hercules.
Well, you were telling me that buses are really difficult.
I mean, buses are just a pain sometimes. I just don't like buses. Sorry, Gerald. I don't like buses. Clipper, Comet, Concorde, Coronation Tram. So we're gonna leave the stuff that we could use. And scroll down here, get rid of the ferry. Get rid of these 2. And all these things are other stuff. Leave all these. Leave the Fowler 4F. Cargo trucks, good wagons. Grizzly. So Nigel Grizzly.
Grizzly or Grizzly?
Grizzly, see? Gresley.
Oh.